All right, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome everyone on Zoom. Looks like Shayla, Karen, Alan, Sherry, Esther. Did I miss anybody on Zoom? Nope, I think we got it. Okay, great. And here in the room we have Zach, Ray, we have Beto with us, Tiffany, myself, my clone, my dad, Jazz, Joe, Jose, and Ernest. So we got a nice group here, and we're excited today. We thought we'd do a special theme for not only this week, but 2 weeks from now, we'll have another follow-up, selling without selling. So that could mean whatever you need it to be. Some are seasoned sales professionals here, others are newer into the business, but more specifically, you know, how to humanize what we do, how to make sure that we're not just cramming things down people's throats. Here's a program for you, you have to take it, right? And so we're gonna learn to sell without selling. So without further ado, I want to introduce my father and my best friend, Frank Rodriguez.
That's a tall order to live up to, right? So, talking to John, and of course, he's collaborating with Joe, the selling without selling. Now, that can mean a lot of things, right? I mean, you guys have been to sales training probably before, and I don't want, I'll give you a guarantee up front. How's that? Does everybody like guarantees?
Love him.
Yeah.
I will not bore you unless you let me. So this is interactive. So be on the switch, because I'm gonna ask you questions. And we're gonna mess around a little bit, but the idea is we share. El guapo. I'll do that.
Was that
That
Joe?
doesn't mean you.
Wow. El guapo.
You gotta know what that means.
Welcome.
Okay, so today, what I like to do is kind of, you know, the person narrating here a little bit,
Catfish.
is, hey,
What's up, handsome?
Hey.
That's El guapo right there. All right. Okay, so let's just relax. Let's just relax but think in a mirror. So whatever we're talking about, you're looking at yourself. There you go. All right. Not me, not John, not Joe, but think about yourself.
Okay.
What does that customer really see? Right? Now, I look like a cop, as I've been told. Really? Do I, Zach?
Yeah.
Muscle memory, huh? Okay, so I have to dress it down sometimes. I have to change who kind of I am a little bit with them. You know, Anthony Robbins talked about mirroring and matching, and NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. There's techniques, but the idea is I want you to think about yourself in this, and I'm going to be asking some questions. So the bottom line is you want to be a friendly resource, not a greedy closer. The hammer, right? And whenever you bought big ticket things, no doubt, like I remember I bought a car once, brand new car, and he sold my wife, he didn't sell me. He was pretty smart.
Pretty smart guy.
And guess what we drove away with? That car. That car he wanted to sell me. And how'd he do it? He took me to the back lot, and he says, I've got a perfect car for you. Now, he's about 8 feet tall, kind of intimidating guy, but he smiled, and he was all gentle. He was talking to her the whole time. Velvet, you know, upholstery. Look at these new spinner. They're not wheels, but they're caps, but man, you know, and he was just talking all like that. He says, how do you like that? Could you imagine sitting in that? Let's go for a ride. So I know you guys got competition, because on the way here I said, how many loan officers in the United States? 308,000 loan reps.
Wow.
In the United States.
License.
Licensed. So be the best you can be. You want them to want you, right? You want to brag about iFinance office in Irvine. You want to tell stories about Tiffany. You want to tell stories about Joe and John and Yasmin. It's all about storytelling. Now, I'm going to get into that here a little bit, but wrote a couple notes here. So we want to become user friendly, but you hear that term all the time. But in your business, you better be. You have to be, because you have other people that will you know, the internet's your enemy. They go over to the next, right? If you just don't like jive with them or they don't jive with you, they're on to the next person. So you want to stop them, right? So this is about sharpening our skills, sharing techniques. I'm going to ask you questions, and we want to contribute to the killer office that you're in right here. I'm telling you, you guys are going to blow up. You guys are going to blow up because I watch the news, the financial news, and talk to John regularly, and he's expecting a really hot year. So be ready. Now, so what this is, it's a round table thing. It's a sharing, it's interactive, I'm looking for your comments, I'm gonna ask you questions, so you better pay attention. All right? It's not all inclusive, so it's not that, and it's not gonna be boring, as my guarantee said, unless you let it become one. We're not gonna do that. In fact, I'll leave early if that happens. That's guaranteed. No. But the end result is we wanna enjoy our conversation today, we wanna be more efficient at what we do, and it's all about referrals, isn't it? If we can get better to get referrals, that's what today's about, okay? So go away, whoever's calling me. So that's really what I wanted to say. And a pipeline that's full is good, but what's better than that is a pipeline that produces results, closes deals. You give them the keys, the realtor does, and you've been an integral part of that whole situation. So trust has to be in place. Confidence has to be in place. Because when you're done helping them do that, guess what? You're going to help their daughter, son, brother also, because you're going to be the deal. Call iFinance. They make it happen. That's the beat of the street. That's the story you want to tell, and that's the story you want to produce. You're part of that action. You're part of that whole action. So, you're not a salesperson, you're really a resource. How many people love salespeople?
Not me.
Oh man. Yeah, that's the, you go, you say, oh, you're a salesman. You're a salesman, huh? You know? When Peg and I go look for a car, we go 11 at night and walk through the lot. Nobody's around, except the cameras. Then the next day we tell them what we want to go see. Otherwise, the lot lizard gets you, right? As soon as you drive in, they're watching you out. Next up, Frank, this is yours. Now walk out the lot, right? So I love the car industry. Good people in it. I know some people in it. They're really awesome people. But you know what? We don't want to fall into that situation where they're going to paint us with the same brush. We don't want to be brushed off. We want to be their resource. So kind of made my point there. So three segments are going to be, one is the consultative approach. Corporate will teach you that, right? Mm-hmm. We're going to talk about facts tell, but stories sell. Who's heard that before? We've got to do sharpen our skills at that. We got to have a story in our back pocket, right? With this particular client. Oh, they grew up in LA, whatever. So you're going to learn a lot of things, but you got to tell them a story that turns them on. You can tell them a story that gets them excited about working with you. Because you're from iFinance. And they don't mess around there. They get things done. And everybody's happy campers, right? And we work through everything. No problem, you know, so we'll talk about that here in a minute. And then there's a bottom line section to it, and that's their welfare. If we're thinking about our commission, they're going to read it all over our face. If we're thinking about them and the new place they're going to live in, and even help pay, because you know what, real estate salespeople, they're good, but you got to close it. If they don't get funded, the real estate person's going to go away mad. How come Tiffany didn't tell me that was going to happen, or this or that? They're going to blame you. It's their lack of skills sometimes. You got to work in concert with them. So the bottom line, I haven't told you anything new, but it's their welfare. Always put their welfare first, and you're gonna end up in a winning situation. Now, before I came here late last night, I was doing some crazy stuff, like the 7 steps to a sale. Heck, we all know them, right? Okay, so I'm looking on the internet. You got prospecting, okay, pipeline, preparation, approach, presentation, handling objections, closing, and follow up. Those are basic sales steps. We're not going to talk about also those 7. We're gonna talk about who we are, how we come off to people, how they feel about us, how we feel about them. Is this real, or is this just an exercise? Or is it just an inquiry? You can turn it, you know from cold to warm market, right? You want them in the warm market. You want to be like the person they want to sit by the fireside when it's cold out, right? So that's what we're trying to do. Then I looked up, what is the closing process for a mortgage? I'm not in your business, right? But I've bought about 10 houses, so I know a little bit about it. I've been on the settlement statement side, like, what's that? What's that? What's that? What's that? Oh yeah, what was this? And so I know you guys can maneuver that page a little bit sometimes. Make me feel good, right? I want to feel good, yeah?
What's your background, by the way, Frank? I know you're John's dad, but besides that?
Corporate trainer was what I did a lot, but sales management was my real world back then for publishers on the West Coast, 3 different offices, and then nationally, I was a vice president of a marketing company. So, been around. I've been the sales trainer for one-on-one, making a joint call. Been a smaller atmosphere like this, which I prefer, or hundreds of people you're talking to, about the industry or whatever. So lately, though, I've been doing business development in the federal and state purchasing arena. You talk about intangible. You guys are selling intangibles. When I go, I'm building a relationship with builders and developers and municipal stakeholders and stuff like that. Trying to build who's going to team with who, how are we going to build a freeway, like Caltrans up there. We work in Caltrans contracts and whatever like that. So that's where I've been, but that's not what's important. What's important is where are you? What story can you tell? Why are they going to work with you? Who's this story you're talking about, this John in the office? Pretty soon they're going to want to drive to your office and find out who John is.
I hope so.
And who's Tiffany? Yeah, and you keep talking about Jasmine. Who's Jasmine? You want to build that inquisitive interest in them because they're more and more coming to your shore. They're working with you. Why? You have trust. You have confidence in this. And I know you guys know this, but I'm trying to hit the nail on the head today and remind you how good you need to be at that skill level. Man, what's a smile worth? Just practice smiling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they can tell you if it's fake.
Yeah.
You want a gut-wrenching smile like, no, John. That's exactly how I feel. And the last person I talked to about mortgages, that's exactly what they said. You're right. Because the other people, they're telling them whatever they want to hear, right? Oh yeah, we can get you in the 4s and 5s easy. Seriously? Get on the internet, you're no different than that, right? But on the other hand, there are things you can do to help them close faster. Like my last purchase was in Oceanside. John was my mortgage loan agent.
I better be. Better be.
If you're not doing business with family, you're out to lunch, Every one of they gotta be have one of these in their deal, right?
UWM statement right there.
Right
He's like
there.
UWM customer.
I'm one of your customers. So, but here's what happened, okay? So John gave me a realistic viewpoint toward what's happening, and that was, other people are gonna wanna buy that property, Dad. That's the season right now. You know what? The dude was right. I found the property, not my realtor, I found the property at 11 o'clock at night. New listing came on, right in the area I wanted to live in, and it was higher up in the property area. That's what I wanted. I called my agent at 11, and I said, we need to talk at 8 in the morning. I need an appointment at 10 o'clock at such address. So she's going like, what, So I said, research it, see you at 10, bam. So I found my own property. Okay. So the problem was, I had a 10 o'clock appointment, but guess what? There was an 11 o'clock appointment, a 12 o'clock appointment, and a 3 o'clock appointment. Same day, first day on the market. This guy did miracles for me, literally. Because I said, I want to close fast, Johnny. I got money in the bank, I do. I'm ready, I want that one, what's it gonna take? So he interviewed me, got all the particulars, of course, he already had all my financials. Oh yeah, you're not messing around when you're working with John. Right? He had me on my toes, standing tall, but I was feeling good, I was confident, I was like that. So I'm telling you this story simply because these are real life things for us customers out there. We all have our hot buttons. We all have our fear factors. I was afraid we were gonna close at the wrong time and I'd have to pay more for 30 years, than I had to. But, don't sweat that, Dad. I got it. I got you. Okay. But we have a relationship in place. But trust me, if he didn't deliver, he'd be hearing from me, even though I'm his dad.
Right.
Yeah, relatives are the hardest to work with. Am I telling you the truth? So I let him do his job, and he did a really good job. You guys would be proud of him. So
The whole team, it was a team effort.
and you know what? It is a team because he had to keep my realtor on her toes. He had to keep the listing agent who was brand new in the business,
Whoa.
and a relative of the seller, didn't know beans from buckshot. He had to keep them all kind of corralled together, with coordinated emails, certain phone calls, and just right. And I was able to close that house, get in it when I was supposed to, and I had leased a house elsewhere, cut that lease, and I even got out of it early because I paid it early. So I was under the gun. I need to get a property. I need to have that. So that's a story. So I want to tell you this. Not the selling without really selling. Manners still count. Manners still count. Thank you. Oh, I didn't know that. Be polite. You don't be drippy, but you got to find out where they're coming from. Are they an executive and they're in a hurry? They got to be somewhere in 15 minutes. Keep it brief. Keep it on point. But manners work. They still work. Mirror and match. How many people know what mirror and match means? What would you say?
Mirror match indicates that you emulate what the other person is doing. So if they're a fast talker, you speed up your voice. If you're a slow talker, you slow it down. High, fast, low, loud, doesn't matter, you match it.
Why do we
They
do
cross
that?
their,
Why do we do that? Why do good salespeople do that in a balanced way?
To build rapport, relatability.
Poor. They're getting in the boat with you. They feel good. This feels natural. Man, it's so different than the last person.
you have to get on the same side of the table as them.
Yeah. So we mirror some qualities and kind of match their personality so it's user friendly. We're building a bridge, especially when you're dealing with maybe call-ins, inquiries here. Right? It's cold. That's about as cold as it can get. And they're shopping. So you got to get them in the boat with you somehow, some way, right? So the NLP, neuro linguistic programming, even goes deeper, and you probably know about that too, maybe. But it's usually using some of the same words they use, and you can do it by repeating what they said. So basically, what you're saying is, I could probably get a house in this area for such and such, and whatever like that, and you'd like to close on such and such. You're using some of the same words and the same ideas, and it kind of, the experts can really program the conversation, literally. That's scary. That's like AI, right? And I'm not suggesting, I'm saying stay natural, but use your skills. You could literally use your words to make it easier to communicate. Trust, confidence. You're going to be their person in this important purchase that they do. Now, as far as starting a conversation, who's heard the term ICR? Have a good ICR. Interest, creating, remark. Interest, creating, remark. Have in your repertoire some things that are interesting when they first meet you. It could be like maybe you're at a home, or maybe you're sitting at an open house. Who sits at open houses here? Anybody? Okay. Right? And they come in and you notice they drove a Benz or they drove a Volkswagen. Right? So what could be some of your interest creating remarks? Maybe they have soccer stickers, whatever. Yeah, hey, we've seen a lot of people here today. I noticed you have a soccer sticker on there. You're big into soccer, huh? Just, if it's phony, it'll be phony. But find something to comment on that will bring them one step closer to your realm, your world. Okay? Now, you don't expect them to hug and kiss you on the way out, maybe, but maybe they will. If you can talk about your kids and soccer and, Mr. Lion, John.
Kitty.
John's kitty. What's my dog's name, John?
Hang on, that's a trick question. Sonny.
See, so we related, we literally related, but also animals too. My dog loves John.
I love that little rat. Cute
I
little
think
puppy.
he likes him more than me, and I'm the one that feeds him. Anyway, a story, pets, whatever, interest-creating remark. In the corporate world, for a while, I was working only with prospects that were high-end attorneys. I was working for a publisher. We wanted their advertising dollars. They said, Frank, go get them. And I said, well, what are you going to put on my card? Special projects. I don't want to be in sales, right? I don't want to be in sales. I want to be their resource. So, special projects. So, why am I telling you this story? Because attorneys are tough. They're in a hurry. They're belligerent. Not all attorneys, but many, when you catch them to try to sell them something and they sense it, they're on you like a pair of tight shorts. They won't give you any breathing room at all. Like, get to the point. What are you trying to sell me? So, who are you dealing with? You have to, in this selling without selling, if you're not going to hammer them, you're not going to hard close them, you're not going to force them into your world and your way and your process, then you've got to know something about them. What is their MO? What do they look like? How they dress? What kind of shoes do they wear? With the attorneys, I never knew who was a successful one and who wasn't. I looked at the shoes and belt. Then I knew. Then I figured to myself, I'm going to waste my time here, or I'm going to pour it on and let's make this happen. Now that's a little subjective, and it's rather, what would we just say? Maybe it's unfair to do that with people. Nowadays, corporate people are really relaxed, easy. In fact, I was going to dish this thing today, but John said, "Oh, wear a
It's cold.
Okay.
Wear your jacket.
But the bottom line is, make it user friendly, right? Are you user friendly? Do you feel you're user friendly? What do you do to be user friendly? That's a question to you guys. What do you do to be user friendly in this important part of this major transaction you're going to take care of?
I'd say for me, education. Take the worry, take the stress. It's a stressful process to many people. No matter how much research they do on the internet, when it comes down to, now it's real. I got to give you my social. I got to give you all these financial documents. You're going to know everything about me financially. It gets real. So what I try to do very, very quickly to make it user friendly is to put their mind at ease. Let me explain to you the process. This is how it goes from start to finish and in between. Now, this is your role. This is my role. So after I explain all of that, and periodically ask questions through it, does this make sense to you? Does that sound fair to you?
Triumph closes. He's closing on the way. ABC, always be closing. They're there to close. They want this done. It's okay to sell them something. It's okay to help them through it. So like what John said, educate. What I love what he just said is, this is my role, this is your role. We can make this happen. We do this every day. In my office, there's this gal named Tiffany. Man, she's so nice to her customers. They love her. But man, she takes care of business. Tell them a story. A true one. Build the office up. You're not alone. See, and we always did that. We always did that in presenting. We told them what resources we had that could help them. You have to explain what the benefit is to them. Okay, so that's good. Now, I will say this about questions. How important, let me ask you a question about questions. How important are questions in your interview, in your, whether you're in an open house setting or an inquiry came in from the internet or a lead that was generated elsewhere or someone you were referred to? What is the role of questions? What is it supposed to accomplish? Anybody can answer that.
It provides you with information and it helps lead the conversation the path you want to go.
Lead the conversation.
Helps you get to know what they're interested in. What are they trying to accomplish?
Yeah. So your questions have to be spot on.
Yep.
Not like what's your dog's name when you're talking about money now. Right? So questions have a very important point. And I wrote down here my don't fire hose them with questions. What does that mean? Don't fire hose them with questions.
Not like overload them with questions, don't keep asking and asking. and
Give them a
asking.
drink.
Yeah.
Give them the drink they asked for. Make sure they got it. You can ask it a second way if you want. You know, I like that. But don't fire hose them because people don't like to be sold. They don't like to be hammered. They don't like to be closed. But guess what? They're there to be closed. They got to make a sale here. You know, you got to make a sale for them on the mortgage side. The realtor's just biting it. I wonder how that interview's going to go. You know, so and if you've got a cold market, they're really checking you out. So your questions have to be artful, and they have to be in comfort, their comfort zone. Think about that. And that's where I wrote down what you want to do is you want to find out what the real needs are without undressing them in public. You want to find out. And John asked me my FICO score. He asked his own dad, what is your FICO score? Can you believe that? I said 830. He goes, oh, well, what is it really?
I said
it's
slacker.
I said it's 830. He goes, why isn't it 850? He came back with some kind of weird thing, and I said, no, it really is 830. He goes, okay, that's good to know. Okay, what about this? So ask pertinent questions, it's okay. Ask it the right way, mess with them a little bit, but you want to know in this conversation, whether you're having it on the phone or whether in person, are they leaning in and really listening to what you're saying? You guys have that in your trainings, right?
Leaning in. Does that sound familiar?
Look for
Just
that
had
body language.
UWM.
Look for that body language. Are they leaning in, whether by their words or literally in person, or if you're with the husband, wife, or whatever, or partners? Is one of them leaning in? Who's the one that's going to take you to home base? Right? Like the guy that sold me a car I couldn't afford at the time. I afforded it, but you know, he sold me a car more than what I was looking for because he sold my wife's needs. And guess what? She got what she wanted. So I mean, it was fun. We all laughed. I mean,
That's right.
yeah. So in your business, how many times do you need more than one person in there in this conversation?
Almost always.
Yeah.
It's always, huh?
Takes a village.
Are you good at that? How do you do it? Share some things. How do you make sure the wife's there?
I schedule a second call with I tell them like we're gonna need to kind of e-sign the documents. Your spouse is gonna have to e-consent. It's sensitive information. What time will the missus be? You and the missus be in front of the computer. That way I know what time they're both home, and I schedule the call at that time.
Yeah. That
And-
question.
I,
Did you?
sorry. I always put them together, if I'm only talking to one in the initial, we'll get through a couple things, but, I'll always put them together in a group text message.
Yeah.
And let them know, like, everything, if they wanna talk any numbers, it's not gonna be until they're both there. And then, but I do the group, I feel like everybody loves that, like, I'll ask them, like, I could put you guys in a group text so everyone is on the same page. So through the whole process, everybody knows what's going on, because I did almost like lost a deal once, because the guy did everything and then went and tried to re-say what I said to the wife.
He
And
tried to sell her.
Yeah. And
that dynamic
then
doesn't
my
work.
manager, that was like 101 for me in the beginning, my manager's like, don't ever, some people aren't on the same page, like, don't ever do that again, because now that other person is getting it through a third, like, they're only getting a piece of the
They're not the
information.
expert.
Yeah,
Like,
so let's brainstorm a little bit about that. What are some user-friendly ways of making that happen? Making sure that they're at the e-sign, making sure that, you
Is
know,
your
when it
spouse
comes to
gonna
talking
be,
numbers.
is your spouse gonna be on the loan?
Yeah,
Like, that's the first, are they gonna be on the loan, are they putting income,
There you
you
go.
know?
who's gonna be on the loan? That's
Yeah.
what you really care about. And mine's in a trust,
Yeah.
right? So these are important things you guys are sharing with each other right now.
I think
How
one
about
of the things, because a lot of the times, especially when you're dealing with older folks, you have their kids actually being the shot callers, you know? So one of the things that I always did when I was talking to older people is, are you getting any type of assistance from anyone else in making a decision on this? Or are you gonna be talking to someone else? Because I wanna get them involved, because one of the things that we do is we think that just because they're whatever, in the loan, they are the decision maker, but nowadays, my parents are included, is they always come to us, like, what do you think about this? I got this on the news, on the mail, what am I supposed to do with this? And it's the same type of environment that we see in other people, so
Good point
it's
made.
always like asking them, is someone else helping you with this? Are you good with technology? One of the things that I always knew that someone else was gonna be helping them, are you good with technology? Because if they said no, then that means that I need it or someone else was gonna be helping them with this. So I need that person to also be involved, because if it's just me and them, the process was gonna take very long, because they need to go and hunt for the son's time. Hey, can you give me a few minutes of your time, because I need to get this done, so.
Yeah, do the group text.
do the-
So that's what I did.
Yeah.
I asked them, I put them all in a group text, now their daughter, I've done that, or email, whatever they prefer. But then again, they're in on everything, so if they're really not handling it, then yeah, then I'll move it, but you still wanna make sure that they're receiving the information.
So that includes other decision makers, not
Yeah.
necessarily the ones
So
that
you
are
of
be on the
course
loan.
ask them, and I would ask them too, like, can everything be shared with them? Like, you can
Beautiful.
put them on there, but you definitely wanna get that too.
Of course.
Does it matter if they see your social, like, is there any documents? So kind of just get that up front. I would have them confirm, when it was more like call center vibe, like I didn't meet anybody live. But I would put them on a group email, and I'm like, hey, they're giving me permission to send stuff.
Yeah.
And I would have them confirm
There's
it,
a compliance more than anything too.
yeah.
But in your case, like you're saying, older
Yeah.
parents maybe have younger ones like that, maybe they're not reading those emails
Yeah,
in a time efficient way.
yeah.
You need to have an answer for an underwriter tomorrow,
Yeah.
you know? So these are good ideas, and we gotta make sure that the proper people are in the
They're
boat
always involved.
with you.
Yeah.
And they're feeling your warm fuzzies too.
That's
And no
especially-
emails, conference calls.
Yeah,
I'm all about the group. I
Yeah,
did the
that
same
gets
thing with the
crazy.
realtors.
I think
I
that's
put them
really
in on that.
important too with reverse mortgages, because when it comes to reverse mortgages, the decision makers, the people that want to make sure their parents are not getting taken advantage of are usually the kids, you know, or the younger family members in there, so.
They
I-
get defensive. Huh?
Yeah, absolutely, because, oh, you're coming after my parents, targeting my parents here, what's up? You know, you're trying to take their house, so.
Well, and that's gonna be their property.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. They have
They're
a-
like, wait, what
Is this
are
a
you
good
doing?
deal? Can I buy a good
They got
deal?
an
That was
interest in it.
supposed to be in my name.
So that brings me to my next, another point here, the fear factor. In reverse mortgages, the fear factor is, are my parents getting taken advantage of,
Mhm.
right? And someone that's buying up, what's the fear factor? I don't know if I can afford this, man.
Yeah,
Like,
out of their
what if there's a
budget.
recession,
They're being charged.
right? Okay, so in someone that's been waiting, and I know you can smoke all these things out, and you do, but we're just reminding each other, sharing technology, if you will. They've been waiting to buy a house, and they lost the last 3. In Orange County, that's probably happens a lot.
Yeah.
I almost lost the one that I got last year with John, because there was so much interest on, so I offered the guy more money. You know, right up front, the owner was in Oregon, And I said, oh, I used to live in the Northwest, really? We talked 15 minutes about Washington, Oregon, fishing, hunting, all that kind of stuff. It was kind of fun, but he and I were like moving closer. This is a seller rep. Because remember, my real estate agent just got involved, and the listing agent didn't know anything. She's brand new in the business, I think 3 months. But he, the owner, was the father-in-law.
He felt compromised.
So I decided to call him. Hey Jerry, got a second? Who's this? A prospective buyer. I really love your house. I can see myself living in it. All my family live in right here in the Rancho Del Oro area, except my son who's in Orange County. You know, and I'm selling without selling. I'm letting them know I want to live in that property. I want to buy. So you listed at this. What'll make the deal work? Because you know how it usually works between the realtors and everybody. They're gonna try to beat you down. I'm not gonna do that. I want your house. So he told me what he wanted. I says it has all, natural stone floors. I said, honestly, Jerry, they really need to be reconditioned. He goes, yeah, I know. I didn't do that in the remodel. He says, but I had it priced out as about $3,500. He says, do you still have the cord on it? He goes, yeah. I go, is it current? He goes, pretty much. And I said, how about if you just deduct that and I'll get that down? I said, okay.
You buy it with no money?
Yeah.
Just like that. Right? I wanted air. He didn't have air in it then. I said, it's going to cost me about, I don't know, 12, 15 grand. He goes, yeah, I know. Well, that's going to be on you, Frank. I go, that's okay. I was doing what a realtor should have done. Okay, so your buyers aren't going to be doing that for you and everything like that. But I had my mortgage guy ready to close. So I did what I had to do, and then maybe you'll have a little more experienced realtors on it. And my realtor was really busy. And then it came to appraisal time. You couldn't get an appraiser out there in a day or two for nothing, man. John knew somebody. He said, oh, I got to handle it.
Brian?
Larry said, I said, but can you do it like this week? He says, for me, he probably will. Awesome. Do it, John. I was like, heck. So, but I had this, he educated me. These are the steps, Pops. This is what's going to happen next. These are the important things. So, that's what we're going to do. So, anyway, those are some of the things there. If you spend all your time on facts, you're not going to get there. You have to add in stories. You have to make them feel warm and fuzzy, and you have to make sure all that. So, there's only one other thing that we could talk about, John. Do you want to,
Go ahead.
okay. Is just a real brief snippet on obstacles or objections. There's the old-time method and it works. Feel, felt, found method. Anybody heard of that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Feel,
Anyway, but you gotta use it.
What was it? Feel, felt, found nothing.
So you say to someone, yeah, they're saying to you, yeah, but this, that. I can understand how you feel, man. I've been listening really hard. That's important. And trust me, I already, I've been thinking about that. And you know what? A lot of people have felt like maybe the interest rate's gonna drop another point or two, and maybe they should wait or whatever like that. But guess what? The house you want will not be there probably. So I get what you're saying. I feel you. A lot of people have felt the same way in this kind of process. But this is what we found at iFinance. We help a lot of people. And we deal with some of the big boys. This is what we found. And then give them your advice. You've reversed rudders to give you enough time to get them out of negative space, to get you back in neutral space, then you can drive the bus to the positive space. Feel, felt, found. It reverses everything. You can do it with corporate people, you can do it with buying a popsicle. You can reverse rudders on it, but you gotta make it user-friendly. You have to make it user-friendly. So you have to practice. Practice each other even in the office. If we had more time, we would practice that out, but anyway, we're kind of reaching our time frame, guys, and I don't want to take too much of your time tonight. You got a busy day ahead of you. So, from today, what one point or are you gonna take home with you? Just maybe each one of you could say something, or been reminded of.
Yeah, I mean, I really, really appreciated the facts tell, stories tell portion, and I know, stories tell, that was a big focus of what we talked about today, but I've seen that even in like the first year that I've been in this business, is that's the way I've made relationships with people, is by letting them inside and showing some of my real self, not just coming product facing and telling you about everything that I have, but telling you about myself and trying to make a connection with you.
Excellent. Anybody else? Tiffany?
I like and I've done a lot of audiobooks, like sales books, but I like the feel like saying, I'm gonna practice that.
Yeah.
Cause that's, like how you bring it full circle. I've never heard that.
You bring it
I'm
back
kinda
home.
surprised.
Nice.
I mean, I took a lot of notes, I think, thank you very much for being here, for taking your time.
Thank you for listening.
And sharing all this information, I mean, not that we needed to know your credentials, but, I mean, obviously, like, it helps too, to know your, a little bit of your background. And I mean, you have some great, points, like, the last one, like you were saying, like, I love the way that, you put it. And it's something that I'm gonna implement more and more and more. And sometimes we start cutting corners in what we do.
That's it.
And we forget what made us successful at one time. And once you're successful, you start cutting corners thinking that less is gonna give you the same results, and it's not always like that. So taking it back and making sure that you go back like, okay, what got me there? Why was I so successful at one point? And it just brings me back to that point too, like, what was I doing that I'm not doing now? So go
Sharpen
back.
the tools.
Sharpen the tools.
Things are always changing, especially in your industry.
Yeah.
Things are changing constantly, you know. Anything else? A value that you
I like the mirror and match. I feel like that's kind of common, but I guess I never really tried to practice it.
Yeah, that's the idea, using it. You know it consciously, but using it.
I like the ICR, interest creating remark. You know, that doesn't have to be about mortgage. In fact, when someone refers me, maybe it's a realtor partner of mine that refers me, I don't get straight into business. I say, oh, how do you two know each other? Where'd you meet? Oh, we met at an open house. Oh, so cool. Was it just you there? Was your whole family with you? Now I'm gonna find out, hopefully if they have kids, whatever. Oh yeah, our whole family was there, but it was kind of crazy because my 2-year-old was running around. Oh, that's great. You know, now I'm learning a little bit. So, you know, I started with some type of a remark that'll create some interest. Now, you know, you're calling me from a good realtor source. By the way, that realtor, Joe, is amazing to work with. Just so you know, you're in the best of hands. So let's talk about your needs. How can I help?
Bingo.
And then for me, how he got there is the question. The better the question, the better the answer. So that'll help you get into their true needs.
Insightful. That's very good.
Yeah, I think on the store side, it's a good way to sell. We're not salesperson, we're resource.
Yeah, I love that.
But if you sell yourself first as a person, then you're gonna sell the product. And I think that's how I met John. I remember when I met him, I started telling him about myself, and I think that's he liked me.
And he saw something in you.
And he offered me
Yeah.
to work for it because I told stories about my life within like 15, 20 minutes. And I think if we applied that,
You were selling
this-
you were selling yourself.
yeah,
You were
and that's
selling
Exactly.
that's a good point. Like sell yourself, and then after that, even though we're not salespersons, but after you sell yourself, you tell stories about you. They're gonna find you're a honest person. They're gonna
Then you say your
they're gonna
team.
feel comfortable working with you.
See, now, like, the story I would build around him would be, you know, part of our team is someone that just joined brand new. Because he found out we have an awesome office, a lot of resources, a lot of experience, we're gonna go after it. And if I need some help on your loan, I've got people that'll back me up. Sell the office, sell your team,
Now that you're saying that,
because it's more than you.
him, that we work in big corporate environments, Ernest, the first thing that I was always taught when working for corporate environment is always sell the company. Because you sell the company, then you sell yourself, everything else is easy. Us as servicers, like tell them, what are you gonna do? You're gonna be the servicer, your loan is not gonna be sold, da. You always tell the company first, and actually they will monitor the calls, and you will get dinged like, you were supposed to do this. Because once you sold the company, in our case, then you start moving into like, okay, now that I have this amazing company that I work for and all these tools, this is kind of what I'm gonna do for you and accomplish your goals and your needs. And it's true, like, we're not selling the company now, this is what I'm trying
But
to
that's
say.
like
In my
building
case,
your
my case.
brand, especially now with like videos and a lot of realtors and stuff, so online, a lot of people are trying to teach people, you know, how to do it, I've been doing a lot. But they specifically, one guy, video that I saw yesterday, he said, realtors, like, if you keep putting just the listings, like you don't need to promote.
It's all about trust and confidence.
And like you said it yourself, you look for your own listing. Most people are always looking for their own loans, for their own homes, right?
Yeah.
So whenever you talk to, like, for example, a Carrington, a NAF, the first thing that comes to your mind, how long have you been in the industry? You know, like, is this company new? Is this company like going to go away and they're gonna take my money? What am I gonna do? So again, to piggyback to my previous point, if you are in the same company for so many years, it shows you, number one, that the company's serious. They're not gonna go away anytime soon. So how long has iFinance been in business? We went through the company went through the previous crash, and they're still around, so that means the company's doing
Bingo.
great.
That's a story.
Yeah.
When you see that FEAR
Yeah.
cropping up, and that's the fear, false evidence appearing real, neutralize it. Tell them a story, a real story. We've been around 20 some odd years. We weathered the storms. We understand what you're up against as a buyer, but we're on your side. So anyway, you guys gotta get the point. We're selling without selling. There's too many people in your industry that are just hard closing everyone. They go like, well, what are you looking for? Oh, what do you have? How long you been on your job? What do you make? Because it's gonna depend on, you know, points and this and that and that. They just go bam, 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 because they're in a hurry.
They're looking at their
Spend the appropriate time with that customer, and then that customer, when satisfied, will give you referrals. That's what this business is about. Don't ever lose that in your mind, because that's how Joe and some others have stayed around during really hard times, because they have referrals, people that refer them, and John's got a lot of people there too. So I'm gonna cut it at that, John, if you don't mind. And just remember, you be a good storyteller, you're gonna build confidence and trust, because they're gonna feel you, they're gonna believe you, and they're gonna wanna work with you. And even if they have a flake listing agent or realtor, like I did, I had this guy pushing the cart and pushing them politely, but I'm telling you, those guys were jumping through hoops to make sure my deal went through. So that's from a customer viewpoint. You couldn't ask for anything more. So I really appreciate your time. I see good things here, you guys. Hi, everybody online there, and hope we didn't bore you. Hope we gave you a couple good things, and we're gonna finish these donuts.